Yep, you read the title correctly. Thunderbolts is actually good. I'm honestly shocked I'm even saying that. In fact, I'd probably say it's the best film from Marvel since No Way Home. Not that the bar's been particularly high recently. It's certainly leagues ahead than a disastrous Captain America without Captain America movie. When the trailers started coming out for this, I thought, this looks like the Suicide Squad at home or some cheap knockoff version you'd order from Temu. Taking a bunch of characters no one cares about from failed past projects and shoving them together in an attempt to make something interesting. And surprisingly, it mostly works, but not for the reasons you'd expect. It actually attempts to tackle some universal themes of dealing with past mistakes, loneliness, isolation, and finding purpose greater than yourself. Not to mention fighting against nihilism and the feeling that nothing matters before it consumes you entirely. A strangely poignant message in current times. It has decent character work, particularly from Florence Pugh's Yelena, who is the main focal point of this film, but newcomer Lewis Pullman as Bob also leaves a lasting impression with his journey, and is sure to become a fan favourite. It also feels surprisingly independent, even with a $200 million budget, which incidentally is actually low for Marvel. It still has a scrappy, tactile style with some interesting choices direction-wise, with the impression that this is a vision from a single person instead of a made-by-committee approach common in many Marvel movies. The action is clearly shown, though tends to lack impact, and the practical stunt work in action early on is appreciated, with the use of CGI being mostly restrained to the closing act. All this to say, Thunderbolts is actually a pretty good movie, with fun scenarios, some jokes that actually land, characters that you want to see more of by the end, and decent enough action. It's not going to blow anyone's minds, and it's not going to do much to move the needle when it comes to Marvel's current downward trajectory. Nevertheless, it's a fun movie that isn't as forgettable as most of Marvel's output for the past 6 years, but I still have no idea how all this is going to work moving forward, even with the end credits scene tease. More on that shortly. I'm going to end with a few quick, spoiler-related questions and answers, so come back after you've seen the film, or stick around if you don't care and keep watching. Spoilers incoming. Does anyone die in the movie? Yep, as everyone guessed, Taskmaster dies right at the beginning when they are all pitted against each other, with only a single line of dialogue from my recollection. Who is Bob? Bob is an unstable test subject the team comes across who ends up gaining essentially the powers of Superman through that same experimentation. But he's called Sentry. He becomes the main antagonist for the final act, but Valentina De Fontaine is the one who puts all of that into motion. What does the asterisk mean? It stands for the New Avengers. In fact, the leaked plot that circulated a few days ago is accurate, though events play out better in the film than you'd think just by reading them. What happens in the end credits? It jumps forward 14 months after the events of the film. The Thunderbolts have now become the government-sanctioned New Avengers, which is Bucky, Yelena, Ghost, John Walker, and Bob, who hasn't used his Sentry power since. Though Sam Wilson isn't happy about it and is currently suing them over the name usage, much to the chagrin of Red Guardian. There's an alert saying there's an extraterrestrial spacecraft that has entered the Earth's vicinity, and it zooms in to reveal it's the Fantastic Four's craft. Cut to black. Okay, that's all I've got. If you have more questions, comment below and I'll answer them. Subscribe if you like. Bye!